Trail cameras are becoming as common as dash cameras and security doorbells. Like those devices, these cameras have been capturing all sorts of strange happenings. So join us as we explore the 20 creepiest things caught on trail cameras. Number 20. Fire Devil in Portugal. First up, we have a piece of footage with some extreme weather that took place in Portugal showing a fire devil that was on the verge of becoming a fire tornado. This may be one of the scariest sounding of all the natural phenomena that I've ever heard of. As if the idea of a tornado isn't enough to give you the willies, these special sorts have the additional feature which includes fire. So, in case you can't quite get your head around it, it is indeed a vortex of flames and ash that is formed as the result of turbulent wind combined with extreme heat that then travels across uneven ground. The fire causes currents of hot air to travel upwards and the swirling wind rushing in from the sides into an updraft. And this is what gets that tornado rotating. As it gathers speed and strength, the fire tornado will then begin to create its very own weather system in its immediate environment, meaning that it can create clouds of ash or fire-generated thunderstorms, as well as continuing to fuel itself by pulling up embers and flames into its vortex. It all sounds utterly terrifying, I know. The fire tornado is amongst the most destructive and devastating forces that nature can throw at a person. And there are smaller versions called fire whirls or fire devils which don't quite get up to the full ferocity of the fire tornado, but would still be an alarming thing to see heading in your direction. All fingers crossed that these insane and unpredictable monsters of nature stay as rare as they possibly can. Number 19. Bigfoot. Okay, well, this is such nonsense that I can barely even look. I mean, seriously, I have seen a lot of Bigfoot videos up to this point in my long-suffering time in the YouTube basement, and I can tell you in no uncertain terms that this is simply a video of a man walking through the woods at dusk. I mean, they haven't even tried to pretend that it's not. Has everyone just given up on doing proper hoaxes now? Are we just so jaded at this point that this is what passes for a Bigfoot sighting these days? I mean, honestly, I'm ashamed of us all. Bigfoot or Sasquatch is a legendary and incredibly shy sort of creature that is said to inhabit remote wilderness areas, mostly in North America. Bigfoot is described as a large ape-like being, and for some reason, this creature has caught the imaginations of people for centuries. Numerous alleged sightings, footprints, and blurry photographs, and they're always blurry, even now with all the HD stuff we have fueled the ongoing debate about its existence. While mainstream science dismisses the creature as a product of folklore and misidentifications, believers argue that the vast unexplored wilderness provides ample hiding places for such a creature, which is a reasonably compelling argument. However, people have dedicated their lives to searching for Bigfoot, and still the myth remains. Well, simply a myth. Could be that this is the shyest animal ever. Or, I hate to disappoint you, it could be all a load of old cobblers. But go ahead and have all your opinions about Bigfoot and this grainy, fuzzy imagery, if you will. Number 18. Bear versus mirror. This is a piece of trail cam footage that's actually worth watching. I know that's a tough thing to find, but this is really kind of cool and definitely interesting. A black bear is walking through the forest when it seems to notice that there's a mirror in the middle of the clearing and begins to investigate what the unusual object might do. He's initially hesitant and focuses only on the edge of the mirror, but then seems to realize that he can see his reflection. It's pretty clever. Other bears that have encountered the mirror seem to generally think it's another bear and that they're going to get defensive. But this bear is smarter than the average bear and seems to spend some time looking at himself with curiosity. He inspects his face and examines the way in which he moves in and out of the view of the mirror. And it seems as though he's using his body as a way to determine that it is indeed himself and not any other bear or something else that may be causing the movement of the creature in the mirror. It's really fascinating to watch this bear figure it all out now, isn't it? Number 17. Elephants rescue their baby from pool. When an elephant falls into a hole and can't get itself back out again, it does pose quite a few problems. First of all, the elephant's stuck in a hole and that obviously sucks. And secondly, how in the holy heck can you get a ruddy great big elephant out of a hole? This amazing footage captures the moment that a pair of adult elephants save a baby elephant from a swimming pool in the Grand Park Zoo in Seoul, South Korea. A CCTV footage shows how the baby elephant was playing beside the pool when it accidentally falls in. The calf tries to swim, but seems to be an unable task. So, the adult elephants swing into action and save the drowning infant. One adult attempts to reach the baby from outside the pool. And when that doesn't work, it runs along with another elephant into the water to save the baby. They work together very quickly to gather up the little one and pull it back to more shallow water and out to the safety of dry land. Their instincts are immediate and they don't hesitate for one moment, and it becomes a remarkable sight to see. Number 16. Mutant Deer. Now, I don't know about you, but this deer really seems to just be minding its own business while wearing an unusual hat or crown or headdress of some sort. I really don't know what all the fuss is about, But here we are again with a bit of trail camera footage that's been uploaded to the old YouTubes and given an entirely inappropriate title that would imply all kinds of dangerous or nefarious stuff that's going on in the woods, except that it doesn't show anything of the sort. It's just a deer with some unusual horns minding its own beeswax eating grass in the forest. You uploader do not have anything interesting to show the world. So please go outside and stop wasting all of our time. Thank you very much. Number 15. Dinosaur caught on trail camera. Apparently somewhere out there is a national park official who can't explain what his trail camera just captured within these woods. So we'll try and give him a hand, shall we? Here we have a trail cam footage of a creature that's been menacing the heck out of people for millennia and has never been caught or photographed. So is it a dinosaur or what? If you were one of the last of your species and wanted to stay hidden and safe from all that dangerous stuff, where would you hide? In a freezing cold loch in rainy old Scotland or in the deepest forest of the most remote part of the Congo in Africa? This is the story of the lesser-known dino-shaped monster creature that's believed to inhabit the area of the map that is so unknown it appears to just be a white space with the words insufficient data to delineate terrain. So, if there is a surviving prehistoric monster, who's to say whether or not they exist in such a place? The mythical creature known by locals as Mokombembe is believed to be a large reptile kind of creature with a long neck and tail, much like the Loch Ness Monster. Number 14. Pigs fighting a bear. Here's a bit of doorbell camera footage that captures the moment that a curious black bear instantly regrets its search for food in a pig pen. Caught on camera in New Milford, Connecticut, the bear has obviously smelled the food in the pig's enclosure. And figuring that the bear is bigger than the pigs, he then jumps on in to try and snuffle up some snacks. But as soon as it takes place, it's immediately obvious that the pigs are somewhat feistier than the bear had anticipated, and they sure as heck aren't in the mood for sharing. So, after a lot of rough and tumble, the pigs then see off the bear, and he leaves the scene somewhat embarrassed to have been outwitted and outfought by a couple of little pigs. He was certainly blushing underneath his fur. Number 13. Weird orbs. Well, here it is. This time it must be it. Now, surely this is the definitive proof of aliens that we've all been waiting for. Or maybe it's just a bunch of mysterious orbs. Now, don't get me wrong, I do love a good mysterious balls adventure as much as the next person, but what exactly is it that we're looking at here? And do we really care? Here you go, though. Enjoy these glowing balls as much as your heart desires. Number 12. A blue heron having a walk. And finally, this is clearly the one we've all been waiting for. It is a big bird walking through someone's backyard. I can hardly believe it either. They've labeled the video as blue heron. So, shall we find out just a bit more about those particular birds? Well, great. So, the great blue heron is a big old wading bird that can be found in North America like in this trail cam video. And they tend to be about 3 to 4.5 feet tall and have a wingspan of up to 6.6 feet. Its body is mainly blue-gray, and it has long legs and a sharp and yellowish bill that it uses for catching fish. They also have a super long neck which curls into an S kind of shape when the bird is flying. These big birds live in various wetland habitats like marshes, rivers, lakes, and coastal regions. They do build large stick nests, often up in high trees, and are solitary hunters. You can often spot these herons standing still or slowly wading in shallow water, just waiting to spear fish with their beaks. And as well as fish, they also eat amphibians, insects, small mammals, and occasionally even other birds. Oh, what a thrill fest this has been. Number 11. Dogman or werewolf. Next up, we have some absolute nonsense in which we see what may or may not be a pair of eyes floating about in a really weird way at the edge of an otherwise dark screen. After this, the camera has apparently moved away and is now showing some close-up of a plant or something. The eyes in question are barely visible, and honestly, they could just as easily be reflections from a nearby tree branch or even a couple of fireflies. The uploader insists that these glowing orbs are evidence of some kind of supernatural creature, but there's absolutely nothing in the footage to back up this claim. At one point, the camera shakes violently, which the uploader claims is the creature brushing past it, but it's far more likely that it was just the wind or a passing animal. The close-up of the plant is equally baffling, as it seems to have no connection to the supposed eyes or anything remotely interesting. The video then cuts to complete darkness for an extended period, leaving viewers wondering if their internet has frozen or if the uploader just forgot to edit out the dead air. To make matters worse, the description of the video is filled with dramatic language about unexplained phenomena and evidence of the unknown, which only adds to the absurdity. Comments on the video range from people genuinely trying to figure out what they're looking at to others outright mocking the uploader for wasting their time. It's clear that the uploader was banking on the thumbnail and title to draw people in, but the actual content is laughably underwhelming. And then at the end, we see absolutely nothing at all. It is the biggest load of rubbish clickbait trash that we have looked at thus far today. Not only is it ridiculous, but the guy who uploaded it has a still from some budget horror movie or an artist's impression of a werewolf-type creature with a victim at the beginning. As if this were any indication of what he alleges he's caught on his trail cam, he has, I cannot stress this enough, filmed absolutely chuff all. Number 10. Bear taking loads of selfies. And now, finally, we've reached the absolute best part of all of today's things that have been found in the woods. This is the ridiculously cute story of a bear in Colorado that posed for a couple of selfies one night. The trail cameras that are set up along the trails of Boulder, Colorado, regularly capture images of black bears' behinds or much more boring things. But one night back in January of 2023, a bear found one of the trail cameras and spent an evening taking selfies, presumably looking for the best one to upload to the gram. The bear seemed utterly fascinated by the camera, tilting its head, sniffing the lens, and even pawing at it as if trying to figure out what it was. In some of the photos, the bear is seen with its mouth wide open, almost as if it's smiling for the camera. Wildlife officials reviewing the footage couldn't help but laugh at the bear's antics, calling it one of the most entertaining things they'd ever seen on a trail cam. The bear's curiosity and playful nature were a reminder of how intelligent and inquisitive these animals can be. Some of the images even showed the bear striking different poses, from standing on its hind legs to lying down in front of the camera, as if it were modeling for a photo shoot. The photos quickly went viral after being shared online, with people dubbing the bear the selfie king of Colorado. Local residents joked that the bear might have a future as a social media influencer, given its natural talent for the camera. Wildlife experts noted that while the bear's behavior was unusual, it wasn't entirely surprising, as bears are known to investigate new objects in their environment. Of the 580 images captured by the trail camera that night, the bear featured in more than 400 of them. That is some Kardashian-level selfie numbers. Number 9. Coyote attacks a deer. Well, this is a horrible and brutal video that shows just how ruthless nature really is. This deer was hopping around having a regular time in front of the trail cam when suddenly out of nowhere, a coyote leaps into view and it looks like it's curtains for that poor deer. The attack was swift and calculated, with the coyote lunging directly at the deer's throat, a tactic predators often use to incapacitate their prey quickly. The deer struggled desperately, kicking and thrashing in an attempt to free itself from the coyote's grip. For a moment, it seemed like the deer's fate was sealed, as the coyote's teeth sank deeper into its neck. However, the sudden arrival of a large buck changed everything. The buck charged into the scene with surprising aggression, its antlers lowered as it stomped and snorted at the coyote. Startled by the unexpected intervention, the coyote released the deer and bolted into the woods, leaving its would-be meal behind. The buck lingered for a few moments, standing protectively near the injured deer before eventually wandering off. The deer, although clearly stunned and apparently still laying on the ground for a few moments, eventually gets up and walks away. We are told that the deer actually survived. This is remarkable given just how brutal that attack looked and the fact that the predator seemed to go straight for the jugular. But the deer was actually lucky in this occasion. Number 8. Three-legged deer. This is a tiny bit of video from some bloke named Joel in Iowa. We really have trolled in the darkest recesses of the internet for you today now, haven't we? Joel was thrilled to have captured this three-legged doe with her young fawn out at night as they munched on some plants. And it appears that the doe had lost her leg and somehow managed to survive. Whether she was given some kind of human support or not, well, that's not really known. But if she did lose a leg and managed to heal without getting an infection and then succumbing to it or being picked off by a predator, well, that's nothing short of incredible. Since this video appears to confirm that she not only manages on 3 legs, but also has had a fawn and kept that small deer quite safe as well. She could only be described as a super deer with more grit than a quarry. You'll no doubt be gladdened to hear that Joel also saw the deer once again later in the season, and she still appeared to be doing well. Number 7. Nightcrawlers. Excellent. It's about time we had some lovely grainy CCTV footage to pour over for a bit. This next collection of video nonsense doesn't disappoint. This is not only a one-off capture, but an entire series of creepy events that have been allegedly captured on film for all of us to enjoy. Lucky old US. Anyways, here's some weird trouser-looking creatures that like to take strolls about the California city of Fresno because, I mean, why not? There are allegedly dozens of accounts of these white creatures who seem to measure between 2 and 3 feet tall and appear to all intents and purposes like a pair of trousers just walking about by themselves. You may be asking whether those who have witnessed this sight may have been hitting the cooking cherry just a little hard that evening, but apparently some of them actually had their wits sufficiently about them to film the craziness for all of us to see for ourselves. And thank heavens that they did. There were alleged sightings of a similar ilk back in 2004 in Indiana, and then those others in Fresno in 2007, again in 2011, this time in Yosemite Park. Yet more long legs were captured on a night ramble, and in Ohio in 2014. So what in the actual heck is going on here? Some people think that it's aliens, while others would suggest a brand new species, trousers, or puppets on a wire. Maybe even a bird walking like a crane. But what do you think? It just has to be aliens, right? Number 6. Forest creature in western Pennsylvania. Now, why are people who are allegedly filming all these strange creatures or Bigfoots or werewolves or whatever always and without fail absolutely useless at holding a camera? Why can they neither hold the camera steady nor focus on the subject? Why do they seem so utterly inept when even the most people's grandmothers can work a camera these days? I mean, honestly, this is amongst the worst footage that I have witnessed this week. And that's really saying something. The video starts with shaky movements, as if the person holding the camera was running or tripping over their own feet. The so-called creature is barely visible, hidden behind trees and moving in a way that looks suspiciously human. At one point, the camera zooms in, but instead of focusing on the alleged creature, it blurs out completely, leaving viewers squinting at what could just as easily be a shadow or a bush. Adding to the absurdity, the audio is filled with heavy breathing and muffled whispers, making it impossible to hear any supposed sounds the creature might have made. The two men in the video can be heard arguing about whether to get closer, which only adds to the chaotic and unconvincing nature of the footage. Critics online have pointed out that the creature conveniently disappears just as the camera seems to stabilize, which feels a little too convenient. Honestly, it's hard to tell if this is a genuine attempt at capturing something mysterious or just another poorly executed hoax. This is the absolute pointless video of an allegedly hairy creature in the woods that these two hopeless photographers or videographers or men having epileptic seizures kind of captured on camera in the woods of western Pennsylvania. They then claim that the creature ran away when they got too close to it. Seems a tiny bit fishy to me, but what do you think? Go on and have your own opinion about it down below. I mean, you deserve it. Number 5. Large upright mountain beast. Alrighty then. Here we have a video that appears to have been a part of a series that was apparently created by a pair of so-called hunters who claimed that they had found a camp that contained human remains. Now, if you do find any human remains anywhere at any given time, you are legally obliged to stop whatever nonsense it is that you may be doing and go and report that finding to the authorities. You should not, however, as these Muppets claim to have done, verify that the remains were human or that this is the very important part, stayed around until the next day and hunted for some kind of large upright mountain beast. Instead of alerting the authorities, they decided to set up more cameras and traps, claiming they wanted to get to the bottom of it. Their footage, which they insist is authentic, shows blurry images of what they describe as a massive, hairy figure moving through the trees. They even claimed to have heard strange guttural noises during the night, which they attributed to the creature. The hunters also alleged that they found large footprints near the camp, conveniently forgetting to provide any clear evidence of these prints. Critics have pointed out that the video looks suspiciously staged, with the creature moving in a way that seems more human than animal. The hunters, however, doubled down on their claims, insisting that they were being stalked by the creature throughout the night. This has, of course, sparked heated debates online, with some people calling it a hoax and others demanding further investigation. Don't be ridiculous. This footage claims to have been caught on trail cam and alleges to show a very hairy humanoid Bigfoot-type creature messing about in the woods because of course it does. I'm sure there's nothing phony about this at all. Seems completely legit. Geez. Number 4. Strange lights captured on camera. Yes, a classic YouTube experience. Strange lights caught on camera. Now, honestly, it seems that ever since someone invented a way to capture images, whether it be through a cave painting or a digital camera, people have been out there getting all kinds of discombobulated by so-called strange lights, and have been trying to tell everyone about them to prove the existence of said strange lights via visual medium. So here we are once again, and this time these strange lights are not immediately obvious. We're here with a couple who have put up a trail cam overlooking their backyard in Mississippi, and they are said to have caught some lights that nobody can explain. There are lots of deer in the images that seem utterly unconcerned by the presence of anything that could be beaming lights across their otherwise tranquil grass-eating scene. So, are they the headlights of a vehicle? Are they something else? Is it possibly aliens? But why don't the deer seem to care? Have you got any ideas about this one? Well, go on and let me know all of your thoughts in the comments down below because we all really need to get to the bottom of this Mississippi mystery now, don't we? Number 3. Bobcat and rattlesnake fight to the death. While it's true that bobcats are pretty vicious animals, it is surprising that they are so eager to engage in a fight with a lethally venomous snake. Bobcats are not in possession of some magic immunity against a rattlesnake bite, so just how and why they do get so involved with these snakes is a mystery. In this wild footage that was captured in California, a bobcat can be witnessed demonstrating just how fearless and feisty the creatures can be when it takes on a big bad rattlesnake. That bobcat basically slaps the snake silly. That's right. It slaps it almost to death in fact. Then when the snake has been sufficiently clobbered, The bobcat gets a hold of the rattlesnake by the head and gives it an undignified head munching until the rattling stops and it is very much dead indeed. Then that wild cat will drag the snake up off the hill before returning to celebrate the victory by rolling around in the dust of the battleground. If the bobcat was bitten at all during the altercation, it doesn't really appear to have suffered any ill effects. At least not immediately anyways, but it should probably be a lesson to snakes in general. Don't hiss off a bobcat because they might just bite your head off. Number 2. Raccoon being a raccoon. Alright, well, I don't want to do a disservice to the original YouTube uploader, so you should know that they actually entitled this original video Raccoon Standing Up Straight several times. I know it's literally the biggest news of the 21st century so far. I mean, heck, I think we can confidently say there's not going to be anything more fascinating or extraordinary in what remains of this century. Yes, my friends, you are really seeing a raccoon standing up straight several times. It is an absolute miracle. I mean, geez, come on, internet. Is this really all that you've got? With their bandit mask faces and ingenuity, it looks as though raccoons are the new kings of the city. They're literally breaking into people's houses to steal food, and what seems to begin as an opportunistic scavenging hunt. These tenacious little guys are finding cat doors and open windows all over the cities of the United States. Raccoons are clever and tenacious, and these creatures will find food and figure out how to get into almost any place that might harbor it. Raccoons have long been using the easy cat door entrances to people's homes, and then usually eating the cat's food and probably anything else that it can get a hold of before hastily chased back out into the street by a flustered homeowner. Some people have attempted to keep the hungry mammals out of their homes only to discover that the clever little creatures have simply just found another way to get in or indeed figured out that the new system designed to confound them doesn't work. Research would suggest that city raccoons are most likely becoming more intelligent than their country cousins. The urban environment offers them so many great opportunities to try different ways to get food and thrive in the densely populated places. It seems as though these raccoons are actually really good at solving puzzles and learning brand new skills. So, the more that people try to keep them out, the better they're becoming at finding ways in. And if left to their own devices, these brainy little animals are likely to be planning heists and successfully pulling off bank jobs. As long as they can get a tasty treat out of it, that is. I mean, look out, the raccoons are coming. Number 1. Strange creature in the forest. There's nothing to see here. Just move along, please. Some people went into the woods in 2006 and saw something. Apparently, it was the chupacabra. Yes, that mythical creature from Latin American folklore. Not a real creature, but a distinctly weird-looking one nonetheless, if you believe the accounts of the sightings. Anyways, the name chupacabra comes from the word chupar, which is Spanish for suck, and cabra, which means goat. So there it is. This is the fearsome goat sucker of all the legends. What does it look like in the pictures that we're showing you? Well, the chupacabra is often depicted as a kind of dog-like animal, but with vampiric tendencies, and they're usually depicted as being completely hairless. This, I think, makes them infinitely creepier than most other potential features like those bald cats. You know, those things are always definitely up to no good. Anyways, wherever there's been a mysterious attack on livestock in certain parts of the world, it's often the chupacabra that will be blamed. But who knows? Could it be real? Have you actually seen one? Let's get into this in the comments down below, shall we? And we can figure out this mystery together like a bunch of flipping Columbos. Now, if we did believe everything that we saw on the internet, then we would be in some serious trouble now, wouldn't we? It seems as if we're still somewhat gullible when it comes to grainy old black and white camera footage from CCTV cameras and the like. The thing is, though, one of the easiest, not to mention cheapest ways of making a low-budget horror movie is by using this technique. It really does seem to capture something in all of us. Some kind of primal anxiety, as if the rudimentary nature of the capture somehow adds a layer of legitimacy to the footage. If you're old enough to remember when the Blair Witch Project came out, then you may also remember the hype around that particular movie. It was built as being a real film and a real event, and it was shot on handheld camcorders. It was grainy and cheap looking and the angles were weird. There were no Steadicam and basically it looked homemade and freaked everyone out completely, yours included. That realism is a really good way to get people believing in your film. I'm just saying. Well, that's all for today's scary trip to the woods. Which of these terrifying things will haunt your nightmares from now on? Let me know in the comments below. Also, be sure to check out the other cool things appearing on the screen, and I'll see you next time.